Hey guys, happy Monday. So, I wanted to talk about anxiety today and basically how to overcome it. So, I feel like a lot of people don't know what anxiety is, and therefore it could be hard to overcome to even understand something that you don't really know a lot about, or it's not really explained in the way that you would understand it for yourself. And so, I would say the definition of anxiety is a feeling of panic, of dread that comes over you. And that feeling, that panic, it's usually in your chest. And it's like you find it hard to breathe. You find it hard to control your breathing and just to calm down. And so it feels like your chest is about to either explode or you just can't calm down. And it's very overwhelming, that dread, that panic. And of course, anything that's serious, it has a cause. Like it just doesn't happen to you for no reason. So it could be one of the causes could be that you went through a traumatic experience, or you went through something that was very painful for you, or you were hurt in a way, or it could even be that you went through something very humiliating. And as a result of what happened to you, especially if it was very traumatic, especially if it's a traumatic experience that you're repressing as opposed to trying to address it, it comes out in the form of that panic, that anxiety, and it could hit you at any moment. But at the same time, that anxiety has triggers, something that happens, or you experience something and is causing you to feel this way. So that's what I mean when I say triggers. So, for example, a trigger could be that whenever you think about tomorrow, what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen in the future, you start to panic instead of focusing on the present, on the now. Your trigger could be whenever, for example, you don't like to be rushed, when you feel like you have so much to do, especially in so little time, there's deadlines of tasks that you have to do, you feel rushed and therefore that anxiety appears. Or it could be something like whenever you're in the car, excuse me, whenever you're driving, or whenever you step inside of a car or a vehicle of some sort, you start to get this feeling of dread, of panic. And that example could be that maybe you were in a car accident and you haven't overcome or dealt with that experience. Or let's just say you developed some sort of driving phobia because you almost got into a car accident, or you don't like it when you're driving and there's loads of cars around, you're stuck in traffic, or you make a mistake while driving and there's someone beeping at you, and then that causes you to panic or something like that. So, those are the triggers that came to my mind. And if you know what your triggers are, if you study yourself and you study whenever you get anxious, like I said, it could be you're thinking about tomorrow, you have loads of work to do, you don't know where to start, or you're in a certain situation, or you're around certain people, you're around a lot of people, especially a crowd, or you're even in an elevator and you fear and you panic that you don't know what's gonna happen, or the elevator, something might happen to you while you're in the elevator, something like that. And anxiety basically comes around because of a loss of control. You have no control over the situation. You are afraid of the unknown, which causes you to panic and have this dread. So if you study yourself and you know your causes, maybe you think about the past, your childhood, something could have happened to you, or a past relationship or a friendship, something happened to you, and that could have been the pinpoint, the root of your anxiety. and you study your triggers whenever you're around certain people, certain situations, and then you start to get this feeling of panic, of dread. You study your triggers, then you can come up with solutions each and every time you feel this way. So for example, let's just say whenever I have a lot of work to do, I have so much deadlines coming up, and whenever I think about those deadlines and I don't know where to begin, I start to panic and I start to have this dread. A solution could be you write down all of your priorities, your tasks that you have to do, all those activities that you have to get done, and you tick it off one by one, so that you do the most important things first, and those that have less, that are less important, you can get it done on a different day or a different date. So that will minimize my feeling of a loss of control, of a loss, like of panicking because I don't know where to start. Or it could be I keep on thinking about tomorrow. There's so many things coming up, especially things that require me to step outside of my comfort zone. What I can do to minimize that anxiety is I just focus on what I have to do now, what I'm doing now, what needs to be done now, and what makes me happy in the present, in the moment, so that you take your attention from the future, from tomorrow, you bring it on today and what you're doing in the present moment. That could be a way in which to minimize your anxiety. Or it could be, for an example, like the example that I gave about, for example, you were in a car accident and you never really dealt with what happened to you, never really dealt with that trauma, that very scary moment. You have to let it all out and talk about what happened to you, whether it's in the form of therapy or counseling, talking to someone that is trustworthy, that is loyal, that if you talk to this person about these things, they won't judge you and they will offer their support and offer their empathy as best as they can. Or it could even be in the form of a prayer. You speak to your creator, your God, and you just let out all that you're feeling. You go back to that moment. You have to go back to the moment, because the more you avoid talking about what happened to you, whether it was a car accident or some sort of assault or a different traumatic experience, whatever it is that made you feel bad, upset, if you avoid talking about these things, that anxiety will always be there, because it's a result of what happened to you, especially if you're trying to forget about it, if you're trying to repress it without dealing with it. And so if you let it out, even in the form of journaling, you let out what happened to you, your experience, you will start to feel lighter in the sense of a weight has been lifted off of your shoulders, and you no longer are hiding this traumatic event. You're no longer ashamed of it. So therefore, the healing process begins and you get less and less anxious. So I just wanted to talk about anxiety, because I know a lot of people, they struggle with it, they don't deal with it, because maybe they think, you know, it will just something that will go away, or it's a phase. But if it's something as serious as anxiety, it won't go away until you deal with it. So I just wanted to offer you my support in the best way I could by talking about what anxiety is, the causes of it, its triggers, and therefore the solutions on how to overcome anxiety and to deal with it. So I hope my video, my message was a blessing to you, some sort of enrichment that you can take from and learn from, so that you can better yourself and better your life, or you can share it with someone that you know is struggling with anxiety, so that they can start taking steps on how to deal with it and get their power back. Like I always say, get your power back, get your life back, and just be more confident from now on. So enjoy the rest of your Monday, guys, and I will talk to you later. Bye.